Since we moved to the new premises, each fortnightly afternoon group meeting has had a new element. We call it DoWhatYouCan. The idea is that a member of the group provides an image file which has scope for improvement. Members copy the file with the aim of presenting their improved versions at the next meeting. We can then compare different ideas about processing the same image. This example came first from Alan Forster, who I'm sure would be the first to admit that it's rather underexposed and the objects in the image are not very interestingly arranged. Alan's own improvement was to make the image black and white. He does seem to favour monochrome photos. Kevin Gregson had a similar idea, but he zoomed in and also moved the lobster pot. Margaret Warren also cropped the image, effectively zooming in, and brightened it, but was content to leave the pot where it was. Margaret also experimented with some filters. This one has a sponge-like effect. Others moved the lobster pot and brightened the colour image. This is one of Terry Scott's 3 versions. And Viv Samuelson ended up with this. Here is a reminder of the original, which was a full-sized TIFF file, so it had plenty of data for zooming in and changing colours. We've had 8 of these challenges so far, and this was the 3rd one submitted by Viv. It has a lot of scope for cropping out unwanted features and changing the tones. Viv's own idea was to do this: crop off the upper window and clone the wall to get rid of the man by the poster. Alan, as usual, went for monochrome and also cropped off distracting upper windows and some wall at the left. Alan also showed some much bolder ideas. Graham Ralph thought the image just needed brightening up and some cropping. Here is the original again. Our 4th example was submitted by Graham. It's a view from the top of Clifford's Tower in York, looking towards the Minster on an overcast day. The image slants because the camera was resting on a stone in order to take 3 bracketed exposures to be combined for high dynamic range. The new image processing application, Affinity Photo, has several useful features within its cropping tool. On selecting Straighten, the mouse cursor becomes shaped like a tiny spirit level. Dragging it along the horizon makes a line which will automatically become level. We might then crop to avoid some of the missing corners, but one here needs repainting because we shouldn't lose the church spire. Viv gave her result a slightly rose-tinted look. Alan went for a really garish version, but he also did his more usual black and white. Kevin also went for monochrome, but did something more adventurous to an extended sky above that church spire. Margaret chose to zoom in on a particular building in the street below. Compare that with one of Terry's offerings, and you can see that he did some tremendous work reconstructing the building behind the scaffolding, completely removing that untidiness. Here we see Margaret's and Terry's versions for comparison. This is Terry's complete version of the whole scene without the scaffolding. Alan supplied our next challenge, a shop front in France. There are two main things which can easily be improved: the slanting lines and the lack of detail in the background, particularly in the doorway. Affinity Photo has a neat way of correcting perspective to make those sloping lines become parallel to the edges of the image. Once again, we need to crop afterwards to avoid some missing corners. This is the result of that correction. Affinity Photo also has a very useful facility called the Tone Map Persona. Taking this image into that results in this automatically. Notice in particular the detail that's now visible in the doorway. Kevin and Viv produced similar results to this. Alan tried something completely different by using an edge detection filter. As a final example, consider this view of the mouth of the Tyne. It's underexposed again, with low contrast and a sloping horizon. We've already seen how the horizon can easily be corrected. Margaret then cropped the image and converted it to monochrome. Graham used the tone map to make a much more vivid result. Terry did something similar, and so did Viv.